Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. If you're a politician who wants to run to become London Mayor, you want everything to go swimmingly. You want your whole campaign to be smooth, to be good, to have no problems whatsoever. You don't want the wheels falling off. Well, for Daniel Korski, yesterday, the wheels well and truly fell off. He was at a hustings organised by the Tories. He was in this thing, and a woman got up and accused him of groping her, basically doing the old honks in number 10 years ago. She is the producer of the ITV drama Victoria. She was invited to number 10 to see David Cameron. Daniel Korski was one of Cameron's aides, and while there he took a bit of a shine, allegedly, to this woman, and decided that it would be nothing wrong with a bit of She said nothing at the time, but now that he's putting himself forward to be mayor, she felt the time was right. Oh, and boy is it. Anyway, we'll take a look at this and see what's going on. So, Tory candidate for London Mayor exit the hustings, leaving an empty chair as the creator of ITV drama Victoria accuses him of groping her in Downing Street after comparing her to Monica Bellucci while he was working as an aide to David Cameron. There was a lot of it about. I mean, at least this guy was touching a real woman. I'm not saying it was good or right. I'm absolutely not. But I'm saying at least it was a real woman. When you understand what David Cameron did to a pig's head, that's completely different. But we don't mention the Cameron pig's head incident anymore. If you don't know, if you're unaware of what Cameron did to the pig's head, simply Google it. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, he was in the middle of an event organised by Green Tories when the claim surfaced. After speaking with an aide, he left Conservative Environment Network event. He vehemently denies any wrongdoing in the strongest possible terms. Well, what else is he going to do? But by running away, it does make you look guilty. It's almost you're running away in shame rather than staying there saying, I absolutely deny that. If you've got no proof, blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, that you'd have fought your corner. He ran away. Straight away, in my mind, my opinion, not saying he is guilty, but in my opinion, it is an obvious sign of guilt. Careful with what words I'm using here. Anyway, the Tory candidate to become London Mayor left a hustings event last night, leaving an empty stool. I bet there was a few stools later. Daniel Korski was in the middle of an event organised by Green Tories when Daisy Goodwin, the creator of the hit ITV drama Victoria, claimed he touched her during a visit to number 10 almost a decade ago. She's previously spoken about the alleged assault, but it is the first time she has named Mr. Korski. She accused him of touching her after comparing her to the sultry Italian film star Monica Bellucci, who had recently appeared in the James Bond film Spectre at the age of 50. As the news broke last night, he was at an event hosted by Conservative Environment Network alongside rivals Susan Hall and Moz Hossain. Excuse me, Mr. Hossain, for mispronouncing your name. But after speaking with an aide, he got up and left the event. He vehemently denies any wrongdoing, with a spokesman today telling Mail Online, in the strongest possible terms, Dan categorically denies any allegation of inappropriate behaviour whatsoever. And yet, he left. The Conservative Party said it would not investigate the matter until and unless an official complaint was made. And there's going to be no real proof after all this time, is there? She's 61. I've got to be honest. She's very good looking for 61. She doesn't look 61 at all. Kept well, I think. Hope I remain that good as well. And there's Monica. Mr. Korski is one of 3 Tories battling out to be the party's candidate in the London mayoral election. I believe he's now finished. He may not have handed his notice in or, pulled from the race, but I think he's more or less done, isn't he? He's married to Fiona. Pardon me. He is married to Fiona McElwham, I presume. Why can't she just take his surname? Is that hard? The private secretary of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Oh, there we go. That explains. With whom he has a son. The way that sentence rides, is that he has a son with the Duchess of Sussex. This is terrible journalism, isn't it? He's married to Fiona McElweb, the private secretary to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, with whom he has a son. Well, let's be honest. They were in a relationship at the time the offence is alleged to have taken place. I think they mean the alleged offence is alleged to have taken place, because you don't know if there was an offence yet. Honestly, journalism in this country is appalling, isn't it? Anyway, she was formerly a diplomat who became one of the youngest British ambassadors in history when she was appointed to Albania in 2009, aged 35. I don't care who she is. Anyway, Miss Goodwin, we go back to the meat of this part. Miss Goodwin wrote, Korsky, who was quite a few years younger than me, showed me into a room dominated by a portrait of Mrs. Thatcher. Then, to my surprise, he said that my sunglasses made me look like a Bond girl and put his feet on my chair when we sat down at the table. I attempted to turn the conversation to turning exports into unmissable TV. And at the end of the meeting, we both stood up to me, and Mr. Korsky, to my astonishment, put his hand on my breast. I looked at the hand, and then, in my most affronted voice, said, "Are you actually touching my breast?" I like the fact that he felt comfortable in doing that in front of a portrait of Mrs. Thatcher. I've got a feeling that that's what may have turned him on enough. Sitting there looking at Thatcher being a true Toryite and going, "Oh, Maggie," because you know. Anyway, he dropped his hand and laughed nervously. I swept out with what could only be called high dudgeon. Miss Goodwin did not make a formal complaint at the time. She said she had learned to laugh off unwanted advances from male co-workers when she was a young woman working in the media in the 1980s. The 1980s was a completely different ball game. Oh my God, it was a different world. I used to smoke at the desk. We'd go to the pub and have 2 pints at lunchtime. They were the days. Anyway, she added it was much easier to evade the hand on the leg or on the backside and pretend that it hadn't happened than to make a fuss. I didn't want to be the girl who couldn't take a joke. Well, you've changed your mind since, and I'm glad to see it. Because you don't deserve that. No women deserve that. If these creepy little men feel that they can touch you like that. Ugh. Anyway, she first revealed the alleged incident in an article for the Radio Times in 2017 in the wake of the Me Too movement, but she did not identify Mr. Korsky. Explaining her decision to name him now, after learning he was running to be the capital's mayor, she wrote, part of Korsky's campaign is that he wants to make London safer for women. This strikes me as the ultimate irony. If he wants to make it safer for women, perhaps he should be the one who leaves London. Now, while I am not suggesting he's in the same league as the man who R'd and M'd Sarah Everard, it makes me queasy to think that a man who clearly got a thrill out of groping me under a portrait of Mrs. Thatcher, boom, same thought, should be someone who can be relied on to make judgments about how to protect the opposite sex. And I think she's absolutely right. So good luck to her. I do hope, that he has given up any hope of being mayor. Effectively, that's done. You've done him like a kipper. Well done, girl. Well done to you. You don't need to put up with it. It's wrong. It is, it's just wrong. And I still can't believe she's 61. Anyway, see now, I've just thought of this. So there he's going. Yeah, and this was how I was holding her breast. And Moz Hussein's going, no, mate, you do it like this. And that woman's laughing because she knows the correct way of doing it. Anyway, I shall round off and I shall come up. But it's glad to see that that creepy toucher-upper of women is not likely to become Mayor of London. Here goes. Of course, I've made light of this, and it isn't a funny subject. It is incredibly not a funny subject. I've made light of it because he is effectively destroyed. She doesn't need to prosecute him, to take him to court or anything. What she's done has, in like one afternoon, one evening, whenever it was released, completely destroyed his political chances of ever becoming the Mayor of London. He'll never amount to anything. She's destroyed him. Well done. Because if it's true, and I have no reason to think it isn't, because I don't believe she would have said it if it wasn't true, not after all these years, then he deserves all he gets. Now, there is no proof. If it went to court, it would be her word against his word. There'd be nothing. It wouldn't even get there. But well done to her. She has exacted the revenge. It was served cold, and it was, I'm sure for her, delicious. Well done. And I shall stop there. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you see here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and gentlemen, don't. And goodbye.